dealt with people, all of these things will just give us good indication of how they learn to live their lives from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Inshallah, we will learn some of these examples in the life of one of the great Imam, Muhaddis, Faqih and Abid. One out of the four Imams, and in the sequence of these Imams according to the time that they were in, he was the last of the four Imams, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal Rahimahullah. The one who is known as Imam Ahl Sunnah. This became his title, the Imam of Ahl Sunnah. Where did he get that title from? Inshallah, we'll talk about it later. As Imam Ahmad is known as Ahmad ibn Hanbal, but I'm sure many of us may not know that his father's name was not Hanbal. Hanbal was his grandfather. His father's name was Muhammad, so his real name is Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Hanbal. But because his grandfather was a very well-known person, and at the same time, people didn't know his father very well, and his father died while Imam Ahmad was young. In fact, just the year he was born, it was the same year that his father passed away. That was the year 164 of the Hijrah. And this would tell us, looking at the year 164 of the Hijrah, which means somewhere around 153 years after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. And this is the last of the four Imams. All three other Imams came before Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah. So in other words, the fiqh, the Islamic laws were documented just around the first 200 years of the Hijrah, after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. It did not take them very long after that, after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah is of Tabi'een. Imam Malik taba' Tabi'een. Imam Shafi'i comes after that, and Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal was almost in the same time of Imam Shafi'i, except that he is the student of Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah says, I had never seen my father or grandfather. So they both died before Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah was of the age where he could recognize any person. As I said, his father passed away just the same year that he was born. And again, we find another person in the history of Islam that was gifted to this ummah, that was given to this ummah as a great gift by his mother, who prepared him and raised him in such a way that he will become the Imam of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. His mother, who was almost 25, 26 years old when her husband passed away, she devoted her life towards the raising of her son. And her main concern was, she wants her son, this was her goal of the life, that she wants her son to be the Imam in adab and ilm, in wara, which means in his ibadah. She wasn't really looking forward to have him as one of the great faqih, where people would just come and ask him all the questions regarding the matters of their deen. Her goal was at least the Imam in his adab, where people would see him and they will realize that this person really learned the adab from his mother. He knows how to behave. And really she succeeded so much in this field that people looking at Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal when he was a child, people looking at him used to say that we spend so much money on teachers to raise our children, and they used to call them mu'addibin. In those days, this was a trend that people who could afford it, they will have a mu'addib for their child, which means they would pay a person specifically to watch over their children, and their children will be spending most of their time during the daytime, most of their days with that mu'addib or around that person, regardless of what that person is doing. If he's teaching, they are sitting around him. If he's giving fatwa and whatever else, the children are just sitting next to him. If he's leading the salah, they are behind him. They are always with that person so that they keep on learning the adab from that person. This was the trend in those days. They used to call them mu'addibin, the person who would teach others the adab, akhlaq, morality, behaviors. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal Rahimahullah's mother could not afford to send him to any of those people. And therefore she took that responsibility upon her shoulders. And this tells us the difference between a mother doing it and someone else doing it for her and for us. A mother raising the child or a babysitter raising the child. Other people looking at Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, they used to say, we pay so much to these mu'addibin, and we are trying so hard. But look at Ahmad bin Hanbal, he is an orphan, doesn't even have a father. His mother cannot afford to send him to a mu'addib, but he's better than all of our children. That was the effort of the mother. In other words, this is the success of that mother that is being seen by everyone in the community. And this mother started raising and kept on raising her son through these adab and akhlaq. She's watching him very carefully at each and every step of his life. Son, this is not a good way of life. Remember, she is not just holding to halal and haram. That was something that even a person who is considered to be away from deen, at least that person will be holding to halal and haram and will teach their children halal and haram, that these are haram things, you can never even think of them, and this is halal and this is what you are allowed to do. But going beyond this adab, son, this is not good. This is not a good behavior. This is not the good way of treating others. This is not the good way of thinking about others. The son comes back home to say a word, and the mother stops him. No, son, this is backbiting. You are not allowed to do this. Imagine if mothers will raise the children in these adab, through these adab and akhlaq. There was a great abid in those days. Whether you call them in those days, in some of the books they call them a Sufiya or Abid or Zuhad, whichever name you call them, there was a great Abid in those days. His name was Ibrahim ibn Shammas, well-known Abid in the history of Islam. He says, when Imam Ahmad was young, I used to see him in those days doing Salat al-Tahajjud. His mother would send him to spend some time around Ibrahim al-Shammas, so that he would learn how to spend the nights also with this person. He says he was so much used to tahajjud that I don't think he would ever miss tahajjud even when he was a child. Subhanallah. This is how they raised these children. This is how they became the imams of the ummah. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal himself says that one of my first teacher was Abu Bakr ibn Ayyash. And anyone who studies books of hadith, you would know Abu Bakr bin Ayyash because he is one